Well, good morning and welcome to our call, the Blessing 323 Inspirational. And I am your host, Octavia Trimm. And joining me this morning is my co-host and friend, Ebony Macklin. Ebony, good morning, my sister.
Good morning, my sister.
Good morning.
And also joining us this morning, we have a special guest today. And let me tell you a little about him. He's a successful, respectable attorney from New York, and he's the brother of the famed icon, Rick James. He has lifelong work as an artist, which reflects his own unique life experiences. Live from New York City, we have a man of purpose, will, and destiny. Good morning, my brother LeRoi, a.k.a. LeRoi C. Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to be on the program. Nice to talk to both of you.
Thank you. Good to have you on, the both of you, and I hope everyone is well.
Well, I feel great.
Amazing.
Well, that's good. That is good. Well, we're here to talk about Brother LeRoi's wonderful art series that is going to be showcasing at the Superfine New York City Art Fair. And that's going to be between May 2nd through the 6th. And that'll be here before you know it. But that is very exciting. And I am sure that he's excited about it as well. There's a lot of new things that he wants to show us. He has a new catalog, and he also has a video link that's on YouTube called I Am Not Picasso, along with some other exhibits of his artwork, which has been shown around the world. So, Brother LeRoi, I am very, very honored to have you on with us, and tell us what it means to be part of this art culture right now that you're involved in.
Well, I think it's all of a sudden it's turned into a very exciting time in art. I think a lot of it has to do with Wiley's work, but there just seems to be a lot more energy, a lot more focus on Afrocentric and African themes and on Black artists than there has been in the past, particularly in the major cities. I feel it personally, and I guess the acceptance now. Hopefully, we can get more general acceptance of African themed art. I'll call it African themed art as opposed to Afrocentric totally. But
I agree.
I'm excited to show in New York as I always am. The greatest city on the planet, you know. So.
Yes, it is. That's exciting. That's very exciting. And I was looking at your long list of museum participations. Wow. You have 5 exhibits that you have participated in as a one-person exhibition. Now, that's a big deal. You were featured in John Simon's Hair Salon, of course. That was in Buffalo, New York, and in Niagara, Pennsylvania. Partnership, that's actually where you started, right? Out of
first major show. It was a Buffalo partnership.
In New York in 1998.
Because of the Simon show, which sounds small, but John is my best friend. And John is a connoisseur of sorts of many things, but particularly in art and anything creative John is involved in. And John happened to have this high fashion salon where he's cutting the hair or styling the hair of, I guess, some of the most famous people, most known people in Buffalo, particularly the curators for the Albright Knox and for the Birchfield Penny Museum. So they saw my work and asked me to do a one-man show, which was the start of showing. Because really, for a long time, I really just wasn't interested in showing. And John convinced me to come on. You got to show some of your work. And I was like, look, John, I don't have time for that. But he convinced me to do it, and next thing I know, because you get involved, and then you keep getting pulled. And that's what happened. The Birchfield Penny Museum was instrumental in most of my early shows, and most of the solo shows that I did in Buffalo, particularly.
Yes, and that was with Don Metz, right? He was the director of that.
Don was the director of the Birchfield Penny, and I'd also mention that I was on the board of Birchfield Penny after that. I was a trustee at the center.
Oh, excellent. So not only were you a participant, but you also had a very high interest in the success of that museum, that art gallery, and what it actually meant. And that is very, very impressive. And I also see that you were in selected group exhibitions also. You have about 18 of those that you were involved in. And that looks like that enabled you to do a little traveling. I see here you were in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
I got well, it's usually one show leads to something else. One guy said that one of the collectors of Western New York art said that my work resembled a artist in Brazil, Abdias Nascimento. So,
and you know what? Now that you mention it, it does. It does.
I kept hearing that. Are you familiar with Abdias?
Yes.
Oh, well, great. He kept mentioning that I was, and then some other people said the same thing. And while I was in Brazil one day, I gave him a call. And it was funny. I called, and his wife was like, well, what do you want? And I was like, well, I'm an artist. They told me that your husband's work resembles mine. I'd like to meet him. Now, Abdias is not just an artist. Abdias is the Martin Luther King of Brazil.
Yes.
So she's wondering.
Which, by the way, I don't mean to interject, but LeRoi, you have Beatrice, who's also on the line here, and who's giving me the thumbs up.
Tudo bem. Como vai?
Wonderful. Well, welcome.
Well, anyway, one thing led to another. I went by and visited Abdias, and we became close friends. And I started to take part in many of the shows that he was involved in, and that meant national exposure, going from city to city. So that was kind of my Brazilian experience, in addition to the galleries and that I had already been involved with before I even met Abdias. So I did quite a bit of work there. I met quite a few artists in Brazil.
Quite a bit. And I see also, of course, a lot of New York galleries, Houston. You were there, Canada, Miami. You get around.
Yeah, I have a little time, just a little bit.
So that was 5 personal, 18 in the group, and in the collections 4. And I'm sure each time as you enter the Superfine New York City Art Fair May the 2nd, that's going to add to your list and your profile, of course.
The profile is really, it's almost accurate. There's a lot of shows that are not there. Because as I go through some of the pamphlets and that, I see that I've missed a lot. But when I did that was accurate. But there's been shows like since that I've done 2 shows in Canada, 2 in Ottawa. We had a show coming up in Toronto.
Now, when will you be doing that? That's going to be soon?
Well, it's supposed to be next month in May, but I think because of the size of the show, it'll probably we'll be talking about moving it to maybe to 2019 or later this year.
Okay, and I know how those things can be logistically. planning those. It is a big deal. It is really a big deal. So you're 45 years in the making and being established in this art world that, you know, this means a lot. This means a lot in the art culture to me as Afro-American, and you being a representative of that, and I'm sure it's important to you as well and those that are around you. Now, I have a question about that and your current style. I know they want to peg that as Afrocentric, but your style is also like a Picasso, like you indicated, but the form is modern. It's modernism. It's blended. You have all these geometric forms that are in color, the symbolizing that's coming together, and you're utilizing all of that and bringing it together. This is what makes your art very interesting, and I'm sure each piece tells a very unique story. So what I wanted to do is ask you about some of these pieces and what story are some of these conveying. Now, you have a piece in your catalog called Colored People. And I know some of these resort to your experiences. And what is that conveying in symbolism?
Well, it's really that we're all colored. We're all, you know, there was a term colored people back in the day when people were considered, black people were considered colored or Negroes or whatever, but that's not what it is. Colored people is that we are all different colors. I mean,
people of color.
People are, yes. We're made of many, many different colors. And sometimes it's not apparent. So what I try to do is just make you colorful, make the objects colorful, but at the same time put a mask on the individual. So you're not only colorful, you're masked, and we have to uncover that. So, you know, I put subtle themes in there for people to think about. Well, what does this mean? What does that mean? A lot of it for me, I used to do a lot. I still do a lot of crazy hairstyles, but they're not so crazy.
I see that.
Not so crazy.
One lady's hair is
now
pink.
The girls,
now
they're
blonde.
the same hairstyles that I was doing 20 years ago. When I was doing blonde hair and purple hair, now all the girls have purple, green, and whatever color hair, and they're wearing big earrings. I thought at first that by putting the big earrings in there, that's kind of a play on how big are the earrings going to get, and they actually got that. And you know, I think in a minute they're going to be earrings that'll carry your arms and shoulders and that kind of thing. You know, but
absolutely, especially some of these gauges that are going in ears now these days. They are.
Well, what fashion and what is going to go? But I'm not trying to document that, but in a way I have documented the changes that are happening. I have a niece she's a hairstylist, and she accuses me of stealing her hairstyle, you know, because she, you know, I was doing red hair years ago, and she says, you know, but that's not true, even though I think we both hit on it about the same time. But, you know, I try to also address the royalty and the regalness of people by putting more regal outfits and more regal scenes and more primitive scenes. You know, even though we move forward, we still haven't moved forward at all. You know, we're real. Everybody out there now, I mean, they're and they're doing things to their body that the primitives did.
Oh yes,
1,000 years ago. Yeah, so
that's right.
The question is, are we progressing or are we moving back, or are we just the same? So, but that's not for me to answer with everybody. I'm not there to stand over people when they look at my art. You interpret yourself and make a decision as to what I mean. I try to give you a little help by giving you a title, and title says such and colored people, so you can interpret as you wish.
As I wish. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it, though. I like it. Now, I have another question about that, though. Most of the forms that you have in your art are women, and they all, and I'm gathering that because they all have circles in the front. So
see, you're wrong. Flat out wrong.
Okay, I'm glad you can clarify.
They are all
set me straight.
They're androgynous. They're all you know, are you familiar with the Fulanis? The people of Mali, Burkina Faso, those kind of people, where the men actually dress up. Or, I mean, this is natural. They dress up in a certain way, but if you saw them somewhere else, you would think that they were women. So men actually now, they wear as big earrings as women do, you know.
Yes.
They wear their hair in styles the same as women, and they put on makeup the same as women. So you have to look at the scene to determine. I used to put a ring on one of my figures to determine this is male, that's female. But they're basically both androgynous. There's no way to determine which one is which. So when you think they're female, they're not. They're androgynous.
They're not.
No.
Okay.
Nothing is what you think.
Well, that's why I'm asking. You have a form that is in one of your art. It has all the people, all the heads looking, and there is one dark figure that is in a triangular box.
Yes.
Almost.
Yes.
What is that
That's
about?
called the disciples, and that should tell you basically that it's a black Christ figure who's basically trapped in a concept, and his disciples are trying to decide what they're going to do about, you know, this Christ figure. But at the same time, they're doing nothing, you know. So it's a play on religion, and it's a play on Christ, and it's a play on giving us an opportunity to have something other than a white Jesus. It could be a black Jesus, it could be blue Jesus, it could be yellow Jesus. I've seen them all.
Well, I like that. I like that a lot because I do get that feeling that is what that particular one is conveying. If you had some advice for a young artist today, what would you suggest on how they could get started, establish themselves?
Well, first, I always tell them, I was with a young artist Sunday, and sophomore in high school, incredible artist. And she said that, you know, I don't think the teacher in that appreciates my art. I took a look at it. I said, it's fabulous. Just continue doing it, have faith in it, and when someone tries to down you, you know that your work is good. They're downing you because your work is good, not because it's bad. You know, it's not like what they want, but it's what you want. And you have to create an identity, stick with the identity, and then work with that and continue working with it. And eventually, things will start happening. You're not going to go anywhere in life into anything that you do following somebody else's footsteps. You know, you've got to set your own path. You've got to walk your own path by yourself. So in art, it's the same. I say paint, 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 and learn, learn, learn. If you're going to be an artist, you have to go around and go to museums, shows, whatever. I never really was interested in shows. I painted all my life, and only the latter part have I started showing. But I think I nurtured my craft during those years. And, I learned a lot about myself and about how to paint, forms, shapes, colors, just about everything. I taught myself the same things that you would probably learn in school. Might have taken a little longer, but I did teach myself.
Yes, I see that because your art form changed a lot from high school, of course, where you, I guess, primarily painted in primitive form, and to now, which has really expounded in a lot of symbolism and a lot of self-expression. And I really feel your art speaks from your heart. It speaks from your authority and all the things that you have experienced in your life. And you're able to put that together with, a stroke of paint with a brush. And that is indeed a gift and a talent. So I commend you for that. It's beautiful work, beautiful work. I know that when I looked at the art forms that were conveyed, the forms to me are vibrant with color and symmetry, and they display a lot of emotion and rhythm of life. And they also convey to me black conflict of soul, external and internal things that are simple and complicated, but the turmoil is something that we all need to understand. It speaks a spiritual language to me that connects us all and glorifies us all and redeems us all. These
I'm going to have you do my interviews from now on.
These are wonderful, wonderful expressions. I tell you, they are so full of depth and beauty, and I tell you, they really encourage the viewer to embrace the meaning and the symbolism of the heritage which you are putting forth. And your artwork is such a great contribution to your own culture as well as the world, and I commend you for it. I commend you for it, sir. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So I feel that you also the humanism in this artwork also is something that all of the colors reflect as well, and that's a different side. It's not just black; it is humanism, and that's something that we all share.
Well, I try to use. But it's a funny thing. I don't see my work as being colorful. Everybody does. I don't. I must be colorblind. But and I usually don't paint the way a lot of other people do. I actually either paint in the morning when there's low sun or paint in the evening when there's none at all. And I usually like to paint in either a shaded room or a darker room. So maybe that's the reason for the brilliance of the color. I don't know. But I think I have something natural because I'm not restricted and this color belongs with that color because I believe in life. Everything is where it is for whatever reason, and red will be next to purple and other colors. It's not organized like that. So in my canvas, I don't try to organize it like green is supposed to be here and the shades are supposed to be here. I like let the light cause the shading and sort of thing that I've learned over the time. So in terms of color, I just I like color. I like the primary colors.
Well, they have come out brilliant. They have really come out brilliant, and you can see it, and it is absolutely just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful art. I wanted to ask Ebony. Ebony, is there anything you want to ask Mr. Johnson?
Sure. I'd love if LeRoi could develop a little bit more on his technique and also, more importantly, on what is the creative process. Is it something that you're moved when, being so exposed to what's happening politically in our world? Could it be, an instance of an interaction with, another person? What inspires you to paint? and also what is the technique in which you do it?
Well, I would say everything and nothing. Everything that I see creates something in my mind that could possibly be either a painting or be used as part of a painting. I see things probably differently than other people. I see things in reflections. I see things when I wake up. I see full paintings when I wake up in my mind. And my process is to, whatever I see and whatever I think of and feel that's worthy, I will jot it down on whatever. I'll jot it down on a napkin, a piece of toilet paper, whatever. And only for purposes of remembering what I saw. I'll even write down the colors. And those colors and those things may not even in reality be there. But it's something that I see in my mind, so I'll do that. I had a interesting awakening this morning about a painting, but the whole concept was how to create a geometric platform in a circular form at the bottom of a painting and make it work in a larger format, which would probably be difficult for you to understand. But one of the easy ways to understand it is to take and turn it sideways and make that into a geometric form, and that will be the emphasis of a painting. So I can see it, other people can't see it. So what I do is jot whatever idea I have down, and I can basically remember the colors, and I can remember the whole pattern once I do that. Sometimes.
And that's another question that I have, LeRoi. It's like when you say you can see it and possibly others can't, when you paint, and as an artist, is there a specific emotion or feeling that you want your paintings to evoke for other people? Or do you just say, I paint because I want to share and, to each his own to figure out what it is? Or do you paint and say, I really want my paintings to make a statement and have people, be moved either in a good way or bad way, but be moved?
Well, I'm not thinking about anybody other than myself when I paint. I'm thinking about expressing what I feel, and that is based on my life experiences and the things that I feel. And I feel that other people probably have similar feelings, but I'm not painting for that purpose. I'm painting to get things out of me, so that it's out. I'm painting I'm trying to capture whatever the thought was, whatever the thought that I had, or whatever the experience I had. Hold on for a second. Sorry, I know how to turn this off. I'm not painting for anybody other than myself as storytelling, as memos. It's kind of my memo, my way of recording what's important to me. That's why I paint what I see, and it ultimately it does reflect maybe what's going on out there. Because I'll just give you an example. I was in a car and I pulled up to this window. And I looked at the window, and I said, "That's a beautiful painting of a woman. A beautiful painting of a woman, and just the colors are amazing. This silver and these blues, and then I got out the car to take a look at the painting, and it was a reflection of the sun on the So I recorded that, and I did paintings of what I saw.
Yes.
And it's just an experience. So it turned out to be almost like two dancers, one person holding a woman in the air, and her body was curved like the moon. But that's what I saw, so I painted it. There was no intent to relate any type of experience. Now, I do have times when I do want to say something. I've done things about the slave ships, about the escape, about Obama, about rock and roll, about sometimes I have that urgency to do that about religion or whatever. But it just depends on how I feel or what I think about. And if I'm feeling something, I try to do it right away. So.
And so, how do you define the New York artwork series? What I know, but I'd love for you to share with the public, what this new artwork series is all about that you're going to be showcasing in New York May 2nd.
I didn't get the first part. I'm sorry.
I was saying that I would love for you to share with us how you perceive this new artwork that's going to be showcased in New York on May 2nd. How would you call this specific series?
Well, I call it the Color People series for the most part because, again, many of the things I talked about, it's dealing with certain different complexities of people, hairstyles, different attitudes. There was a series I called Color People, The Curiosity, and that was basically the thinking of using the eyes to emphasize what the whole painting was about. You're looking at the painting, and the painting is looking back at you at the same time. I do that a lot. But the Color People series is just to introduce people to my forms. It's more
to your form, a different form, a different art form that is
geometric and colorful. And there are themes behind it that we've talked about so far.
Mm-hmm.
You could look at it and say that, hey, this is what I'm doing with myself. This is my hair. This is my earrings, and this is this is how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
And what's behind the split face? You can ask yourself, what's behind your split personality? So
absolutely,
that's more what it's about. It's about introducing people to me as an artist, and then they'll get a chance to see some of my larger pieces, which it has more themes, more icons, and it's much more developed than the pieces that are in this show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I am, just really enjoying our conversation, but unfortunately, we're coming to an end today. Thank you.
We're never at the end. We're still at the beginning.
Thank you. I hear you. Thank you so much for being on the program today. Thank you so much, Ebony, for being here. And I just want to just tell everybody, if they want to experience art differently at the New York City Superfine Art Fair, check Mr. LeRoi C. Johnson's work. You can follow him on his website. That is http://LeRoiArt.com. And please correct me, Ebony, if I get something wrong. He's also found on Facebook as well as LeRoi Art. And he also can be on Instagram. You can follow him there. He's https://Superfine.
Correct, and everybody online has access to be able to purchase tickets for the show. And we'd love to invite people to DM us, and we'll make sure that they have discounted tickets in order to experience LeRoi's work at Superfine NYC.
Absolutely. So,
having me on, it's been a pleasure talking to you both.
Yes, it has been a pleasure. And we wish you much continued success and blessings in all you do. And I just want everybody to remember, you are who you dream. And Mr. LeRoi Johnson can tell you that. So thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Octavia. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.